I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card. Now that is trustworthy. I'm gonna be honest. That is trustworthy. I respect a man that only has a debit card in 2025. That is respect. Like right underneath the people that still got the flip phones. Like they still pressing the button 3 times to get S. Like those total respect. Shout out to all the subscribers and the members here on the channel. Don't forget to like the video. I am Reese Waters, and this is Street Politics. And to all of my New Yorkers, I want to say congratulations. You have reached the finish line to one of the ashiest elections of all time.
Marcy Projects, Marcy, son, what?
So, this is a biblical moment. You know, when Jesus was on the cross, he said, God, forgive them, for they know not what they do. All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them.
Shut your stupid ass up.
Actually, Eric Adams, it was more than Negroes. It was 15 million New Yorkers that said that. And now they have a choice between Zohran Mamdani and Andrew Cuomo and Curtis Sliwa.
Because if you're under 30, Cuomo's always flirty.
That's how we gonna start? That's really how we gonna start? I guess that's the kind of message you don't want to bury. You want to make sure people know what they're getting into. I appreciate you, Curtis Sliwa. I'm in my 4th decade, so I'm good.
We have a very special trick or treat. Cuomo wants to trick you about his record as governor. Political zombie come back from the dead. Zohran Mamdani, but he has offered treats. Free. And just like a vampire, like Dracula, sucked the taxpayers dry.
Excuse me. Is that your costume, Curtis Sliwa? Is that? No, you had a Kangol on at all? Okay. I can understand that because I'm reaching an age where I'm gonna have to start having a perma Kangol too. Especially if my enhancements keep rubbing off like Jaylen Brown. So yeah, you know what I mean? I feel you on that. I feel you on that.
Don't believe me, believe President Trump if you're a Republican. President Trump said Curtis Sliwa is not ready for prime time, and a vote for Sliwa is a vote for Mamdani. And that's why you see the council member and other Republican electeds saying we have to unify behind Andrew Cuomo to stop Mamdani.
You're glazing me. Don't be glazing me.
I continue to be confident, but we'll never get complacent. We have just 4 days left. This is the most expensive city in the United States of America, and it's time to make it affordable. That's
actually a good point, because I remember one time I ordered an extra chopped cheese, and I had to get my lights cut off. I couldn't afford for the chopped cheese. That's what. And then to get my lights cut back on, I had to sell my Timbs. Andrew Cuomo is fighting back. Need last minute Halloween costume? Here are some ideas. Happy Halloween. Sliwa with beret. 17 cats. Fake crimes he made up to get press about the guardian angels. Helping Mamdani get elected by not dropping out. Not included. Any chance of winning. Now I see why he talk about you so greasy. I see why he talk about you so greasy. Because those cats didn't even look happy there. You know what I mean? Those cats, don't hurt the cats. I mean, look how mad this one looks on the bottom. He looks like he's seen the polls. Then we get Mamdani with megaphone, socialism, defund the police, prostitution.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
Did you pick him up or like what?
Brother,
Is there a phone line or a website? What's that? Globalize the Intifada. Ah, I see. Okay. We amplifying that Islamophobia now, are we? Okay. Next thing you gonna tell me is you made a quip about him in 9/11.
Any given morning, there's a crisis, and people's lives are at stake. God forbid another 9/11. Can you imagine Mamdani in the seat?
Hey, yeah, I could. He'd be cheering.
It's another problem.
Now I see why Andrew Cuomo be so mad at Curtis Sliwa. Cause he the one that really need to be on Fox News. You know what I mean? He hit them right-wing talking points better than Sliwa. He does. Let's be very clear about that. Also, it helps he don't have a hat on, so that it just helps with the communication. Decriminalizing all drugs and misdemeanors, chasing jobs out of New York City, and failed de Blasio policies, not included prior job experience. Now, I haven't lived in New York for a few years now, but in my experience, I don't believe that decriminalizing all drugs and misdemeanors would hurt. That doesn't, I don't know. I don't know if I would have put that there. And then you had it under prostitution. So, I just, Then we get Cuomo, 40 years of proven government experience as a governor, attorney general, housing secretary, 3-time elected governor with 70% approval rating, 5,000 new police officers to make New York City safer. I got a question. Can we still push your record as governor? After what happened?
No, it's been a long fight. It's been a long fight, and I just had to have a warrior spirit, and that's all.
You can forget me dropping out because it's not the billionaires who are going to pick the next mayor. It's the people of New York. I trust the people. They will make a decision. I don't trust the billionaires, and I don't trust the influencers and the insiders. So let's establish that. Last night at the final debate, which I won, clearly, we learned two things. That Zohran Mamdani is not ready for prime time. His resume could fit on a cocktail napkin. But we also learned about Andrew Cuomo that he's a classic test case for HR training. And if he were to ever be elected as mayor, you'd have to have an HR person constantly in his presence.
Now, Curtis Sliwa, what was it that you said at the debate that got the people so excited you don't want to drop out? These Curtis Sliwa mayoral debate quotes rocked us to our core, and Sliwa didn't even need his red beret. The headline he'd aimed for as mayor, Curtis Sliwa is without his iconic red beret because I'm talking to the people of New York City about really serious issues. Curtis Sliwa exceeds all expectations and looks very mayoral tonight. Would that mean that we shouldn't have taken you seriously when you had the red beret? Is that what that means? Were you serious about if you're under 30, Cuomo's always flirting? Was that serious? On the general vibe of the debate, first of all, there's a lot of testosterone in this room. He said, I knew Mario Cuomo. You're no Mario Cuomo, Andrew Cuomo. I don't have a credit card. I have a debit card. Now that is trustworthy. I'm going to be honest. That is trustworthy. I respect a man that only has a debit card in 2025. That is respect. Like right underneath the people that still got the flip phones. Like they still pressing the button 3 times to get S. Like those total respect.
To get somewhere fast and you can't take the train, do you hail a taxi? Do you use rideshare? Mr. Sliwa, what do you do?
I try to avoid yellow cabs. As you know, I was shot in the back of a yellow cab in 1992 by the Gottis and Gambinos.
Uber would have been fine. I think Uber would have been, or Lyft. That would have been fine. And I don't think the Gottis and the Gambinos are going to appreciate being brought into this. I'll just be honest.
I'm speaking to you as an undecided New York City voter, because this is what I'm having trouble understanding. How can you both believe that Zohran Mamdani is an existential threat to New York City and also refuse to drop out and endorse Andrew Cuomo if the polls suggest that margin, your 14 to 20%, would go to Cuomo and elect him? That's what I'm having trouble circling that square, if you will.
Maybe people who think like that have been smoking too much Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush, and they're in a drug-induced psychosis like Bill de Blasio.
Hit that blood! Hit that blood! Hit that blood! Hit that blood!
What are they chanting? I think they want you to get high, my brother, man.
But that ain't happening. Get out your vote. If you want to support Cuomo, go vote for Cuomo. You want to support Zohran Mamdani, vote for him or vote for me. This is so good that so many people have shown up for early voting. I'm feeling great because democracy is prevailing over billionaires, insiders, and influencers. And look, if I lose, I lose. That's what elections are about. Drop out a mainstream candidate, a Republican Party candidate, drop out for an independent that you can't even find on the ballot who lost to Zohran Mamdani already? When has that ever happened in political history? Never. And if you want to blame me if Zohran Mamdani somehow wins, blame me all you want, because I'll be here fighting the Zohranistas while Andrew Cuomo and his billionaire friends flee to Florida.
I think weed would have been fine. I think weed would have sufficed. Maui Wowie and Hindu Kush is quite specific. Yeah, that's sounds like you're talking from very recent memory, sir.
By the way, you're talking polls. He was 40 points up, 2 months ahead of getting clobbered by Zohran Mamdani by 13 points. I'm going to believe the polls. It said that Trump and Harris would be neck and neck. He won the popular vote in the 7 battleground states. Oofa to the polls. I trust the people. I'm out there. I have 7 headquarters that I've opened up in all the boroughs. I don't see the other candidates opening up headquarters.
I have a question. How can you have 7 headquarters? Like, if you have 7, then are they really headquarters? It sounds like they just offices. That's like saying we got 7 quarterbacks. You ain't got none.
What do you mean by that?
Hey, we in D.C. Too soon. Prayers up for Jaden.
And I've raised more money than the combination of Eric Adams and Cuomo in the last 2 cycles. I now have another TV commercial on Improve, Don't Move. Why should I drop out? I'm the only Republican candidate who's offering an alternative. The Democrats have destroyed the state, and now they want to destroy the city.
Curtis Sliwa, if they destroyed the state, they would already destroy the city. That's, you know what I mean? Because the city is in the state. You know what I mean? That's how that works. I know you don't want to give it to New Jersey.
You're glazing me. Don't be glazing me.
How will a Curtis Sliwa administration deal with Trump?
You got to pick and choose when you're going to decide to take on Donald Trump. I think both these guys proved during the debates, macho maniacal, I'll take on Trump. Well, guess what? From the toughest guy in this race, and I've proved that many times, you're going to lose. And that means New York City loses.
Who would be worse for New York, Mamdani or Cuomo?
Oh, both of them. They're like 2 peas in a pod. They're like a soup in a sandwich, a horse in a carriage. The architect of no cash bail, which led to us locking up toothpaste and not criminals, is Cuomo. His apprentice on that, Zohran.
Hey, forget toothpaste. Beijing. I'm talking about Beijing. Can we free the Beijing? What candidate is going to free my enhancements?
How do you make New Yorkers trust the police more? Because there's some distrust that are happening with public safety officers who might abuse their power in New York City.
In my first 13 years as founder and leader of the Guardian Angels, I got arrested 81 times.
I got a question. Did he say arrested 81 times? 81 times? Like Kobe, he went for 81? Is this like a Trump thing? Were you running on that? I'm trying to Why would you say that? I guess if you said you got shot in the back of the cab, it's whatever.
I know what it's like to be the target of over excessive policing or targeting you. You have to have a balance. The other thing, I'll see police officers, I don't know if they're adding to their Facebook what they had that morning for breakfast or sexting or texting, but it sure has nothing to do with policing. I can't even find them in a crowd of commuters. So cops aren't going to like me neither, because I'm going to enforce certain basic rules that have been sort of pushed to the sidelines. Hey, so I might put more cops on the street, but they ain't gonna be sexting no more. I can tell you that no more. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that. So we going and clamp that down. You know what I mean? And make sure, what are they gonna do with their free time? Tell them find some Maui Wowie or some Hindu Kush. You know what I mean? They'll be all right. They'll be all right. Well, unfortunately, Andrew Cuomo, it looks like Curtis Sliwa is here to stay. Your move. In his last stand, Andrew Cuomo zigzags between optimism and despair about the NYC race. Through the final days of this year's campaign, Cuomo has at times lived up to the nickname he earned in the early days of his political career, the Prince of Darkness. Cuomo relaunched his campaign after a shocking Democratic primary loss, telling New Yorkers he was in it to win it in a video he filmed standing on a tree-lined sidewalk under the July sun. He would acknowledge he needed to embrace social media and address voter concerns about affordability. Over the 4 months that followed, Cuomo zigzagged between optimism about his candidacy and despair about the possible mayoralty of Zohran Mamdani. He's described his run as the last chance New Yorkers will have to save the city from Mamdani's democratic socialism, once referring in a debate to 34 Mamdani as a kid and warning that his ideas were radical and unrealistic. Now, I'll say this, Andrew Cuomo, one thing I do appreciate is you strategically have made a very real push for Black New Yorkers.
Is Mamdani good for Black New Yorkers?
He is another political puppet.
I think he's a bit of a socialist.
You don't believe that it's a show?
I've never asked myself this question.
Let's chat.
Do you believe he's for Black people?
I don't think he actually cares about this community. One thing that was really troubling to me was when he applied for college as a Black person.
Wait, you said Mamdani applied to college as a Black person?
He did, and clearly he was to take advantage of a system and gain benefits by taking a spot away from an already disenfranchised people.
I'm sorry,
if you're willing,
he didn't even get in?
No, he didn't. The Democratic Party's rallying around him, obviously, because he's the pick. So now we have endorsements from people like Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. If you were to ask Zohran at the time when they needed him, would he have endorsed them? No, he specifically told voters not to vote for Kamala Harris.
So who would you believe is the better candidate?
I think Andrew Cuomo, for me. He has a proven track record. He's done Moynihan, he's done 2nd Avenue Subway, LaGuardia, JFK, like everything.
Now, albeit somewhat disingenuous and, as I mentioned, self-serving, given the way the demographics broke down in the primary, I can't poo-poo being acknowledged and valued at any particular point in time. However, when asked specifically about the persecution of Letitia James, you wouldn't oppose Trump.
Should the president have gone after Tish James?
Well, my point is, and I think this is nearly uniform, both sides, Democrats and Republicans, believe there's too much politics in the justice system.
Yeah, this is what your statement said yesterday, but should the president have gone after the attorney general? Was he right to do that?
Well, he will say he didn't go after her. The prosecutor will say they were just doing justice, which is what Tish James said about going after President Trump. I'm just pursuing justice. That's why it's political.
But what do you say?
Neither side should be playing politics.
So let me get this straight. If I'm a Black New Yorker, I'm supposed to trust you to have my best interests at heart when you won't oppose the Trump administration, which is explicitly anti-black? How does that work? That's like explaining the Jets offense. That don't make no sense.
Yeah, your opponent was out there this morning saying that you won't condemn the president in any sort of way because you have the same donors. And in this conversation, it doesn't sound like you think that he was wrong in this situation of going after the attorney general. What do you say to Mr. Mamdani, who came out this morning and said you won't speak out against the president?
We have the same donors. The president was from New York. I am a lifelong New Yorker, right? There are people who know the president. There are people who know me. There are people who contributed to the president, contributed to me.
If you won't condemn the president here, in this situation, how can a New Yorker believe you'll actually stand up to him?
You condemn him for what?
Okay. Now I got it. Not only do we not defend Letitia James, we don't even defend ourselves from accusations that we have the same people backing us as Trump. That's interesting, because aren't you the same one that said Trump will take over if Mamdani is elected?
And he said, I'm going to send them into New York. And I called him up and I said, no, you're not. No, you're not. There is no reason to send them here. It would be a cheap political gesture, and we will oppose it. We have the New York NYPD, 34,000, largest police department in the United States of America. We have 10,000 state police and MTA police. We have more National Guard. We have more state police, MTA police, NYPD than we have National Guard. There was no reason, and he didn't send them. Donald Trump is a bully, and he puts his finger in your chest, and 99% of the people take a step back. You put a finger in my chest, I step forward, and I always will for New York, and we actually won many of those battles. Now, Trump has said, and write this down, or keep it on the tape, or whatever the modality is, if Mamdani wins, he will take over New York. He will. Not with National Guard. He will take over New York in toto. Remember, the National Guard is just a political show. The federal government, and he threatened me with this when we were having one fight, they can close down your airports. They can close down your tunnels. They can take all your health funding. They can take your transportation funding, your housing funding. They can basically bankrupt a city and a state.
So you think he would go that far?
Oh, I think he will take over New York functionally. And he has said it, and he has his rationale.
But you won't oppose Trump. So what does that mean if you are elected? This wouldn't happen to be one of those MAGA things where every accusation is an admission now, would it? I mean, we have seen this from you before. Remember when the son of Mario Cuomo accused Mamdani of nepotism?
And if they don't work, c'est la vie.
And if they don't work, c'est la vie.
And if they don't work, c'est la vie. I ain't seen nothing that crazy since Offset accused Cardi B of cheating. I ain't seen, that's wild. You know what I mean? That's wild. But at least he was just trying to sell albums. He wasn't trying to get votes. That kind of misreading of the facts bodes poorly.
What does Gaza and Israel have to do with running for mayor of the city of New York? Am I missing something? Is the mayor a member of the United Nations? Is he part of a negotiating team? Why? Because he wanted to use it for political purposes to divide New York.
Y'all give me 2 seconds. I gotta look for something in my files.
Mr. Cuomo? Given the hostility and the anti-Semitism that has been shown in New York, I would go to Israel.
Mr. Tilson, where would you go?
Yeah, I'd make my 4th trip to Israel, followed by my 5th trip to Ukraine, 2 of our greatest allies fighting on the front lines of the global war on terror.
Mr. Mamdani?
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform.
Now, I know sometimes in politics, 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4. But but guys, I don't know a better term, but this is a smoking gun, right? Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. This is textbook gaslighting Cuomo's doing here, right? Because the insane thing about this is I'm sure you guys have other clips. If you've been paying attention to election for mayor in New York City, you have other clips in which they just hammering Zohran about foreign policy stuff. Meanwhile, he's like, yeah, I just want to make the rent cheaper. That's, you know what I'm saying? That ain't, I just want to make the rent cheaper. But hopefully this clip, you know what I'm saying, makes its rounds and Zohran's team, y'all owe me a check. because I kept the files.
You know, you actually probably would have done better just laying low. You know what I mean? Just laying low probably would have worked better, because it seemed like every time you come on the offensive, it just goes left. You know, you just find scandal.
Any given morning, there's a crisis, and people's lives are at stake. God forbid another 9/11. Can you imagine Mamdani in the seat?
Yeah, I could. He'd be cheering.
It's another problem.
See what I mean? And you the one that put Intifada on the Halloween costume right by prostitution. That was you. You did that. Not to mention the fact it was some stuff missing from your costume. I had a cousin. They got the Andrew Cuomo Halloween costume, and it was stuff missing from that package. No, not that kind of package.
Mr. Cuomo, in 2021, 13 different women who worked in your administration credibly accused you of sexual harassment. Since then, you have spent more than $20 million in taxpayer funds to defend yourself, all while describing these allegations as entirely political. You have even gone so far as to legally go after these women. One of those women, Charlotte Bennett, is here in the audience this evening. You sought to access her private gynecological records. She cannot speak up for herself because you lodged a defamation case against her. I, however, can speak. What do you say to the 13 women that you sexually harassed?
If you want to be in government, then you have to be serious and mature.
And it was bad enough what the people in the 5 boroughs had to see and hear over the course of the last several months. But then you have the part that we all had to see. And I just need to know, who gave Andrew Cuomo AI? Huh? Who in that office gave Andrew Cuomo AI? I curse you to season tickets to the Brooklyn Nets.
You are ruining Halloween.
Yeah, and I'm about to ruin New York City if you make me mayor. See, I'm a socialist. Some people need to get tricked, so others get a treat.
God, that guy was crazy. Socialists are terrifying. Sir, we told you to go away. What?
Relax. It's just me, Curtis Sliwa.
The red beret guy running from there with no shot of winning.
Then why are you dressed like that other guy?
Because at this point, I'm so far behind.
A vote for me is a vote for Mamdani.
And that's the scariest thing of all this Halloween.
Anyway, I hope you guys have enough candy. Each of my cats is dressed up as a different cat from the musical Cats.
I'm voting for Cuomo.
Same.
Come on, let me in. My cats are hungry.
Paid for by Cuomo for NYC.
So within the past hour, Andrew Cuomo posted an extremely racist video of Zohran Mamdani being extremely racist towards him, as well as using AI to make caricatures of his supporters. This video was posted and then deleted within 15 minutes. I only managed to screen record about half of the video, but I'm going to play it for you right now.
Zohran Mamdani's opponents want you to believe he's an inexperienced radical whose policies will make New York City more dangerous. But what do his actual supporters think?
Mamdani isn't crazy.
He's just trying to even the playing field.
You know, give everyone a fair shot. Sure, he said multiple times we need to defund the police, but that was just a metaphor.
And yes, he did say crime is a social construct. But that was also a metaphor.
His main backer, the Democratic Socialists' ideas are common sense, such as
Decriminalizing misdemeanors, like shoplifting.
Third-degree assault. Trespassing. Prostitution.
And drunk driving.
With plans to decriminalize all drugs, Mamdani will be a job creator for drug dealers.
instead of helping us homeless get off the streets and into the mental health facilities we need, he wants to give us safe injection sites to do crack and let us sleep in subway carts.
These are actual policies Mamdani and the DSA want to implement on day one.
When a woman's being domestically abused, she finally won't have to deal with some pesky cop to arrest the abuser, but now a social worker to help, kumbaya the situation.
This is why Cuomo won't win, because he has completely lost touch with reality. He lives in a bubble. He's totally insulated from what the actual people on the ground are feeling and are voting on. And this is why you will lose. And I say this, I'm not from New York. I live in Jersey, but I'm an Irish-Italian union member. I am the target voter for the Cuomo campaign, and he's completely turned me off. I would never vote for Cuomo again. I would never support Cuomo again for any single office, and this video just illustrates why.
Now, by the way, I have a whole video coming up all about all the racist AIs that have been populating TikTok. I'm glad you could be a part of it. I'm glad you could participate. Now, as far as you, Curtis Sliwa, I salute the strength of your conviction and your stubbornness. I always salute stubbornness when it comes from the right, at least when you're opposing what they want you to do, like Marjorie Taylor Greene. That I salute you. I'll be honest, you're also quite entertaining.
Fuck it. I like Curtis Sliwa. I'm not going to vote for him, but I enjoy him.
There's something about him.
Obviously, I'm voting for Zohran. You know that about me.
But my friend Gabby said it best about Curtis Sliwa is that he is a true New York eccentric. He wears a hat that nobody asked him to wear.
And he fucking wears it. Look at that tan line.
He kind of sounds like an extra Italian Alan Alda. Fugazi. And he loves cats to a degree that's worrying, but totally harmless. And don't get me wrong, he's still a Republican. He still wants to slash income taxes to help big businesses, but you can't say he's not fun. Okay, if I was at a party and he and a crew of people were smoking a little something, and he was like, "Hey, Lucas, hit this," and I would be like, "Nah, I'm sorry, I'm good." If he just hit me with a little, "Come on," I would be like, "All right, you got me." Dude, also the way he's literally calling out Andrew Cuomo's team for offering him huge amounts of money, saying that he's going to release the amounts he's been offered. I don't want him to be mayor, but I don't want him to leave.
In fact, Curtis Sliwa, this whole mentality of not dropping out of the race, I feel like I've heard this before. I feel like you are channeling the spirit of New York City mayors past.
When Jesus was on the cross, he said, "God, forgive them, for they know not what they do." All these Negroes who are asking me to step down, God, forgive them.
That was it. See, we came full circle. Just like the New York Giants. Yeah. Right back to trash. Dead ass.
If you see these dogs in your front yard, just know upstairs I'm going hard. Bing bong.
Hey, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and a very special shout out to my man Brian, who sent me this photo in his fresh Who Raised Y'all gear and said, just wanted to show you how I represent the Reese Waters community. I need Reese to add some sweaters to the merch store though. It's getting cold. And that is actually a fantastic idea, because if you know me at all, I yearn for the cold so I have an excuse to cover my front porch. See, spring and summer is fit people weather, and I have never been invited to that club.
I know, man. It hurt me too. Come here, man.
So good idea, Brian, and shout out to you for your support. Be on the lookout for more. We got Release the Files and Kamala Was Right gear that's hitting right about now.
Well, not yet. We need to install the plumbing. I'll go get the bathroom.
But another thing I would like to address, I've received lots of comments and emails from people that said we would love to support the channel, but we're furloughed right now, or we've been hit by some of the cuts to benefits, and times are a little bit tight. We were laid off, things like that. You being here and supporting the channel by virtue of attending the premieres, dropping a comment, sending kudos, a like, whatever you do is more than enough. You are seen at this particular time, and you are absolutely supported. Anybody that's been affected by the elimination of benefits or growing economic insecurity, you can support the channel and the content without being a paid member at all. Just watching the videos to the end past the outro helps in the algorithm. So does watching the ads all the way through. Also liking and sharing posts and leaving those comments on your social media platforms also boosts engagement.
I promise you, until you do right by me, everything you think about is gonna crumble.
Oh, that's right. Miss Ray can always use help. So if you're interested in volunteering to be a mod, you can send us a message at admin@reesewaters.com. Now, this is a channel where I value honesty and authenticity. And one of the things that I have communicated to you on several occasions is my heavy use of enhancements. Yeah, I have been known to enter the enhancement game. That's why I be so tough on Byron. You know, that's why I be so tough on Byron, because every time I go down to CNN, ain't no more Beijing. You know what I mean? Ain't no, hey, you know what I mean? Just selfish. That'd be a MAGA. That definitely be a MAGA. So at this particular point in time, I would just like to acknowledge one of our own in Jaylen Brown, who unfortunately was exposed for all the world to see. And like in so many different instances in life, I can say, yay, but for the grace of God go I. That could have been me. That could have been me. You know, it had a completely different body and DNA and gene structure, and was athletic and had discipline and all. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like, if y'all were close enough to brush up against me, right, your shirt would be dirty. Your shirt would be, we can be honest. This is a safe space. So to my brother, Jaylen Brown, I just wanted to say, we support you and we love you. And if you have a +1 on that trip out to Turkey, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? I clear the whole schedule. You know what I mean? I clear the whole thing.